WWE Legends explain why the Wild Samoans are SHIT, and honestly, some of what they reveal is totally shocking. So let's jump in and see what the real drama behind the scenes was. 1. Rocky Johnson. Rocky Johnson's run with the Soul Patrol was historic, but it was also full of intense moments, especially when it came to facing the Wild Samoans. The Samoans were a dominant force in WWE at the time, known for their wild, unpredictable style and their ability to make any team look like they were in over their heads. Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas were determined to change that narrative. Their goal was clear: end the Wild Samoans' third and final tag team championship reign and make history as the first black tag team champions in WWE. The stakes could not have been higher. When Rocky stepped into the ring with the Samoans, it was more than just a match. It was a clash of styles and personalities. The Samoans relied on their brute strength and ruthless teamwork, often overwhelming opponents with sheer power and aggression. Rocky and Atlas, on the other hand, combined athleticism, strategy, and teamwork in a way that challenged the Samoans at every turn. Each match between the two teams was intense, with the crowd on the edge of their seats, and the tension backstage mirrored that in the ring. The Samoans were not used to being challenged like this, and Rocky's experience and focus made him a difficult opponent to intimidate. The rivalry reached its peak when the Soul Patrol finally defeated the Wild Samoans and captured the tag team championships. This was not just a win for Rocky and Atlas, it was a statement. For the Samoans, it was a humbling moment. They had dominated the tag team division, and now their third and final reign had been ended by two men determined to make history. For Rocky Johnson, it was a testament to his skill, resilience, and ability to rise to the occasion against a team that had seemed unbeatable. Every move in that match showed why he was respected in the locker room and feared by opponents in the ring. Even after the match, the impact of that rivalry lingered. The Wild Samoans continued to be a formidable team, but Rocky's victory highlighted the changing landscape of WWE. It showed that talent, strategy, and determination could overcome even the most dominant teams. Rocky Johnson's feud with the Samoans remains one of the most memorable moments of his career. It was about more than championships. It was about challenging legends, breaking barriers, and leaving a lasting mark on wrestling history. The drama, intensity, and stakes of those matches are still talked about today as some of the most compelling stories from that era. 2. Tony Atlas. Tony Atlas is one of those names in wrestling that instantly commands attention. Athletic, powerful, and full of charisma, he was the perfect partner for Rocky Johnson when they formed the Soul Patrol. Their mission was clear: take on the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika, and end their dominant run as tag team champions. At the time, the Samoans were the most feared team in the division. They were wild, aggressive, and relentless in the ring. Beating them was no small feat, and it required every ounce of skill and determination that Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson had to offer. When Atlas stepped into the ring against the Samoans, he was not just wrestling for a championship, he was stepping into a battle that carried historical significance. The Wild Samoans had been almost unbeatable, using their brute strength and teamwork to dominate the tag team division. Every match against them was a test of strategy, endurance, and mental toughness. Atlas knew that relying on raw power alone would not be enough. He had to combine his athleticism with smart teamwork, and that's exactly what he did alongside Rocky. Together, they became a unit that could match the intensity and aggression of the Samoans at every turn. The culmination of this rivalry came in 1983, when Atlas and Johnson finally defeated Afa and Sika for the WWF Tag Team Championship. This moment was huge for several reasons. Not only did it end the Samoans' third and final championship reign, but it also marked the first time a black tag team had held the WWE Tag Team titles. It was a historic victory that sent shockwaves through the locker room and the wrestling world. For Atlas, the win was validation. He had faced one of the toughest teams in wrestling history and proved that he could rise to the occasion. Every slam, every pin attempt, and every tag during those matches demonstrated why he was one of the most respected athletes in the business. The rivalry with the Wild Samoans didn't just happen in the ring. Backstage, the Samoans' reputation for intensity made them formidable opponents even before the bell rang. Atlas has often spoken about the focus and preparation required to face them. It wasn't just about strength, it was about mental toughness, teamwork, and staying one step ahead. By defeating Afa and Sika, Tony Atlas didn't just win a championship. He helped break barriers, set a new standard for tag team wrestling, and proved that determination, strategy, and skill could overcome even the most dominant opponents. 3. Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund was known for his technical skill, discipline, and incredible endurance. But one of the most intense chapters of his career came when he faced the Wild Samoans. In 1980, as the reigning WWF champion, Backlund teamed up with Pedro Morales to challenge Afa and Sika at Showdown at Shea. The Wild Samoans were a completely different kind of challenge than most teams Backlund had faced. Their style was chaotic, physical, and intimidating, and their reputation for dominating the tag team division made them a team that few could match. Backlund knew that defeating them would require more than strength. It would take focus, strategy, and a deep understanding of the team's unpredictable tendencies. In the ring, the contrast between Backlund and the Samoans was obvious. Backlund relied on precision, technical wrestling, and conditioning, while the Wild Samoans used raw power, aggression, and cunning teamwork. Every match with them was a battle of styles, and Backlund quickly learned that the Samoans could exploit even the smallest mistake. He had to think ahead, anticipate their moves, and work seamlessly with Morales to stay in control. The Samoans were relentless, and even the crowd could feel the tension as every slam, tag, and reversal unfolded. For Backlund, facing them was about proving that intelligence and skill could counter brute force. The match at Showdown at Shea was the climax of that rivalry. Backlund and Morales managed to outmaneuver the Wild Samoans and win the tag team championship, ending Afa and Sika's reign. It was a hard-fought victory that highlighted Backlund's ability to adapt to extreme opponents. The Samoans had been a dominant force in tag team wrestling, but Backlund's technical mastery and determination allowed him to neutralize their aggression and secure the win. In defeating them, he not only claimed the titles, but also proved that he could hold his own against one of the most physically intimidating teams in wrestling history. The rivalry with the Wild Samoans showed a different side of Backlund. While he was usually seen as a disciplined singles competitor, going up against the Samoans required him to combine his skill with strategy and teamwork in a way few matches demanded. The battles in the ring, the intensity of the Samoans' aggression, and the ultimate victory helped cement Backlund's legacy as a versatile wrestler who could succeed even against the toughest opponents. His matches with the Samoans remain some of the most memorable moments of his career, and an example of wrestling at its most strategic and hard-hitting. 4. Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's story with the Wild Samoans is one of those moments in wrestling history that perfectly captures his rise to superstardom. In early 1984, Hogan made a shocking return to WWE in a dramatic way. Back then, Bob Backlund was the reigning WWF champion, and the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika, were causing chaos in the tag team division. During one intense moment, the Samoans launched a vicious attack on Backlund, and out of nowhere, Hogan appeared to save him. The crowd went wild, and that moment instantly cemented Hogan as a hero figure in the eyes of fans. It wasn't just about stepping into the ring. It was about standing up to one of the most dominant and aggressive teams of the era. Hogan's intervention showed that he could take on the Wild Samoans and protect other top stars, instantly elevating his status. The Samoans were notorious for their unpredictable style and brutal teamwork. Sika and Afa were relentless, using raw power and their wild, chaotic offense to intimidate anyone who stepped into the ring. Even someone as respected as Backlund was vulnerable to their onslaught, which is why Hogan's return was so dramatic. Hogan didn't just save Backlund, he sent a clear message that the Wild Samoans were not untouchable. That moment set the stage for Hogan's growing feud with them and highlighted the contrast between his larger-than-life charisma and their raw, aggressive style. Sika also stepped into the ring to directly challenge Hogan for the WWF Championship, which added another layer to their rivalry. While the match ended unsuccessfully for Sika, it reinforced the idea that the Wild Samoans were always in pursuit of dominance, and that Hogan had arrived as a force to be reckoned with. The intensity of their encounters showcased both Hogan's ability to rise to challenges and the Samoans' reputation as one of the most formidable teams in wrestling at the time. Hogan's interactions with the Wild Samoans were more than just matches or confrontations. They were a key part of his journey from a rising star to a legendary figure in wrestling. Facing a team as dominant as the Samoans tested his strength, resilience, and ability to connect with the audience. From saving Backlund to defeating Sika in the ring, Hogan proved he could handle the chaos they brought. These moments helped define his early WWF career and made his eventual path to superstardom feel inevitable. 5. Premiership Tito Santana. Tito Santana's career is full of memorable moments, but one of the most significant came in April 1980 when he faced the Wild Samoans alongside his partner Ivan Putski. At the time, Santana and Putski were the reigning WWF Tag Team Champions, and they were up against a team that was quickly earning a fearsome reputation. The Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika, were wild, unpredictable, and physically intimidating, and their aggressive style had already made them one of the toughest teams in the division. For Santana, this match was not just about defending a title. It was about surviving against two opponents who seemed unstoppable. Going into the match, Santana knew that defeating the Samoans would require more than raw strength. Afa and Sika were masters of chaos in the ring, often using their teamwork and unpredictable moves to gain the upper hand. Santana and Putski tried to rely on their chemistry and experience, but the Wild Samoans had a presence that was hard to counter. From the opening bell, the match was intense. Every slam, tag, and strike tested Santana's endurance and ability to think on his feet. Facing the Samoans was a lesson in dealing with a team that thrived on intimidation and aggression. Despite Santana and Putski's best efforts, the Wild Samoans were relentless. In a hard-fought battle, Afa and Sika managed to defeat the champions and capture their first WWF World Tag Team Championship. For Santana, it was a tough loss, but it was also a moment that highlighted the sheer dominance of the Samoans. They weren't just another team. They were a force that could overwhelm even skilled and experienced wrestlers. The match made it clear that once the Samoans set their sights on a championship, they would stop at nothing to claim it. The loss to the Wild Samoans was a defining point in Santana's career because it showed how high the stakes were in the tag team division. Facing Afa and Sika wasn't just about a title. It was about testing limits and measuring yourself against one of the most dominant teams in wrestling history. Santana walked away with respect for their skill and aggression, and the match became a key story in both his career and the rise of the Wild Samoans. 6. Pedro Morales. Pedro Morales was known for his charisma, technical skill, and ability to connect with the crowd. But one of the most notable moments in his career came when he teamed up with Bob Backlund to face the Wild Samoans. At the time, Afa and Sika were one of the most feared tag teams in WWE, dominating the division with their wild, aggressive style. Facing them was never just a match. It was a battle against a team that had already proven they could overwhelm anyone in the ring. Morales knew that defeating them would require more than talent. It would require strategy, focus, and seamless teamwork with Backlund. Morales and Backlund formed an unusual but effective pairing. Backlund brought precision, technical mastery, and unmatched conditioning, while Morales added experience, quick thinking, and the ability to read the Samoans' unpredictable style. Together, they had to anticipate every move the Samoans made. Afa and Sika were known for their raw power, unorthodox tactics, and the ability to intimidate even seasoned wrestlers. From the start, the matches were intense. Every tag, slam, and strike tested Morales and Backlund's coordination, and every moment in the ring required them to stay one step ahead of the Samoans' aggression. The rivalry reached its peak when Morales and Backlund defeated the Wild Samoans to capture their second WWF Tag Team Championship in 1980. This win was not just about reclaiming a title. It was about proving they could stand up to one of the most dominant teams of the era. Morales' experience and resilience played a huge role in countering the Samoans' chaotic offense. Each reversal encounter showed why Morales was one of the most respected wrestlers in the business. By working in perfect harmony with Backlund, he helped neutralize the Samoans' raw power and secure a victory that was both hard-fought and historically significant. And that wraps up today's video. Make sure to hit like and subscribe so you never miss an update, and we'll see you soon.